Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mike with FormAWin. We have one of our top students here, Christian, who went ahead, got an internship at Stellar, went through our full program, worked super hard, and a key component here is what we preach is under promising and over delivering, and he lives that to the standard all the time by over delivering with everything he does. Let's get into it. Christian, welcome. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining here, man. Super happy to have you as a student, as a client, but more so now that you've actually achieved what you wanted to achieve. Why don't you give everyone a little rundown about you, what you're doing, where your internship is? Get into it.
yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Christian. I have been a part of the FormAWin community for a couple months now. I'm a junior in aerospace engineering, and I just landed my first internship for the summer. So, very exciting, going on to bigger and better things for the summer. I'm moving out to Colorado, so experiencing some new change of scenery, some new landscapes. So, I'm very excited to do so. But yeah, like I said, I'm a junior in aerospace engineering. I'm very involved with the club that I'm in. That club is AIAA. I like working on small projects in my side time, in my free time. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I'm also involved in undergrad research. I work as a server part-time at a company called Panulos. It's an Italian restaurant in Winter Park. Michael's been there. It's very good. If you guys want
Yep.
good Italian food, come check it out. I'll be sure to take care of you. But yeah, so I'm going to Colorado for the summer. Um, the process to get this internship was very long, very tedious, very time consuming, and kind of like Michael said, it was very underpromising, but I made it happen by putting in the time and the work, but most importantly, having the advice from Michael and the FormAWin community. So
Love it, Christian. Yeah, man, I'm super proud of you. And then we're gonna be getting into like a little bit more of your story, your thoughts behind the program, everything you've been through. And again, like I just can't emphasize this enough because there was a time where you wanted to quit and kind of like just stop, slow down, try to figure things out. And we all go through that point, and I get it. And you
oh
stuck
yeah.
through despite all that. So I mean, I'm super proud of you for that. But also the future that's to come. There's plenty more to come. It's not the end of the journey. But
Yes.
why don't you start by telling everyone why you got into engineering?
Yeah. So it really all started from a young age. My dad would used to tell me a story about how I would ride a merry-go-round, and rather than actually enjoying it and laughing it and having fun like all the rest of the kids were, like I would sit there stone cold, straight face, and try to figure out how it was working. And what he means by that is as it's going around the circle, I'm kind of just looking up, looking down, looking towards the middle to see how it's, like actually rotating and stuff like that. And he was just like, "What were you doing?" And I would be like, "Dad, I don't know how it works." And so that's kind of like from a young age when I knew like I was kind of destined to be an engineer. But yeah, growing up, I would also ask my parents how things work in life and why this affects this and how does this work affect this. And they just wouldn't know. And no shame to my parents at all. I love them both to death. I'm on great terms with them today. But it was just kind of that, they didn't really know how to answer that question that caused me to have that drive to want to figure out by myself, why it works the way it does. So that's how ultimately I knew I wanted to become an engineer. Aerospace, I didn't really specify which engineering field I wanted to do until I was maybe my sophomore year of college. When I would just watch YouTube videos on different industrial engineers, what they do, aerospace engineers, what they do, computer science, what they do. And then ultimately I just landed on aerospace because I think things that fly are freaking sick and awesome and cool.
That's right.
Especially rockets, especially airplanes. The amount of engineering that goes into those things is quite insane. So yeah, that's ultimately why I wanted to become an engineer. I'm just a problem solver at heart, and I like figuring out why things work the way they do. So,
I love it, man. You're a savage. So next up I got for you is gonna be like, what's one of the biggest struggles you went through? I mean, early on in college, and then maybe we can transition to one of the later struggles. Just run through some of that.
yeah, so I didn't have a rough time coming into college like my freshman year. So I came down to Orlando from Panhandle, Florida, because that's where I'm from. That's my hometown. But I didn't know anybody. I started from scratch. I'm the first person out of my household to actually go to college. So this is a new experience in itself, figuring out how college works, adjusting to the new schedule from high school, because high school you would wake up at the crack of dawn, get home at 3, go to 7 different classes and work on homework for 7 different classes, go to a club, work your part-time job, whatever, come home, go to sleep. So it was a big adjustment for me and a lot different. But one of my biggest challenges was just finding a network. I think that's one of the time to find your network that's easiest is going to be your freshman year because you might be living in the dorms, you might be finding new experiences that you want to do, go out and live. Um, So I would just say finding my network. And I really didn't find that until my sophomore year when I joined my club, AIAA, that I'm now the vice president of. And that was honestly life-changing because, you're around other engineers, you're around other aerospace engineers, and you're around like-minded people who just want to do good in school, um, look for internships, find a job, learn new skills, you name it, they do it. So biggest challenge for me was just finding a good network.
Yeah, man, the struggle is definitely real, but you overcame that really quick. And then, a big thing with everyone too is a lot of people look at all these daunting stuff and then, maybe they don't take action, but you still took that action, and that's what's necessary. We need to chase that uncomfort or that near experience of failure or just like that next level, right? And the only way to do that is get uncomfortable and then make that decision. Then once we're there, adapt and then just overcome. And then once we're comfortable there, then we need to get more uncomfortable at the next position. And like all you're doing is just rising up. So definitely keep that up. And I'm glad that you talked about that. A lot of people watching, I'm sure if you guys are watching, take notes, pen and piece of paper, identify some struggles you have with your life. A lot of it's going to be correlated, right? And then as we go through this interview, kind of pinpoint where you might be able to improve now, later, whenever, in the past. Maybe you're like, okay, I could have done this differently. That's what you should be trying to take out of this interview. So, next question that we have for you is going to be when we first reached out with FormAWin and when you first joined, what were your initial thoughts?
Initially, I didn't know what to expect. I've never had a time in my life where like I've had a coach and mentor kind of like push me as much as you do. So it was kind of new, kind of like being like my dad, my unofficial dad in a way. But my dad always used to, just make sure that I was doing in school and doing what I need to do and taking care of me, make sure I was safe in that. So kind of what you're doing in a regard. But yeah, I really didn't know what to expect. I've never had a coach like I just said. But I was at a point in my life where I can only know so much from the learning from the people around me. And I just needed someone who is directly in the industry and know what they're talking about to kind of just take in information and just soak up as much as I can to learn from them and try to just be the best version of myself that I can be. So yeah, long or short answer, I didn't really know what to expect, but I definitely don't regret it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and then again, everyone watching, the biggest thing to get to the next level where you want to get to is you need a few different things. You need to be around new people, get new experiences, and get new ideas. So if you do that and then you just start implementing that, that's how you're going to start getting new stuff because you don't know what you don't know. The only way to find out what you don't know is by doing that. So awesome, man. Next up is the check-in process for FormAWin, how we check in each week, the whole
Mm.
kind of formula we use. When you were entering the program, did you find it beneficial and do you still find it beneficial? Kind of run me through some of the thoughts with that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. The win check system just it's really easy to overlook the small wins in life. And I have to remind myself that every week, to be honest, because it's easy to overlook the small wins. And sometimes you just need to remind yourself that you are doing good and that you are taking the necessary steps to do what you want to do in life, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to just be engineering, it can be really applied to anything. Um, but the check system has definitely allowed me to kind of just cherish those small wins and also keep me on track for the things that I ultimately want to achieve in life. So kind of what we've done, at least for me personally, is kind of just to send out like 10 applications a day for internships at the time when I was still looking for them. And messaging people on LinkedIn. So kind of just it's that extra push that I needed to really just hold myself accountable. And so the win check system for me has obviously paid off for sure.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it's just really given me that encouragement to just keep going and just keep myself accountable and just remind myself that, I am doing good things and that these small wins need to be cherished. So,
That's right, man. And then, kind of with going into the whole system and all those daily things, and then with that comes strategizing, right? So, what were your thoughts about how we formulated, strategized, building connections and developing that process and kind of just making sure that we're on the right track?
yeah, so overall, the thought process was great. And I think learning from you, I was able to learn so much more than like, so much more than I wouldn't have learned if I didn't join you, if that makes sense. So like for me, ultimately, my ultimate goal was to stay on track with my fitness first and foremost because fitness is a big part of my life. I remind myself every day that when looking at a computer screen for 8 hours a day, doing homework or whatever it may be, sending out emails, that getting outside and actually just running, playing pickleball, that's one of my favorite hobbies. It's good for your mind, first and foremost. It's going to allow you to just come back to a problem that you might have had before and just you'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't think how to solve this problem this way. So you might do that. But the whole strategy for what I was ultimately trying to achieve is very insightful. And yeah, yeah, that's all I have
I
for
love
that
it,
question.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, when we were going through all this stuff, right? Because we had the win check system each week, our check-in system each week. We had some coaching calls. We called. We went through all of that, building connections, strategizing, kind of optimizing all areas, right? Did you notice immediate results, or did you kind of notice results after a certain amount of time? Like what changed for you and when?
So I would say I think he reached out to me in the fall, and at that time I was applying to internships daily, but it was kind of just doing like the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is just applying to an internship and maybe not reaching out to the hiring manager afterwards or the recruiter afterwards. So going into the spring, that's when like really things started to kick in for me is like I was full force, full momentum. I was doing applications every day. I was reaching out to dozens of recruiters every day. I actually went to my first career fair in February, so that was cool. And then you were giving me tips and tricks on that, so that I definitely implemented those at the career fair. So yeah, made good impressions at the career fair. Got a couple business cards, got a couple emails. That actually led from some of the processes and tricks that you taught me. I was able to land a future interview in the fall for just a company out in West Virginia. So that was cool. But I didn't see immediate effects until maybe about 2 months in, of course. Yeah, 2 months in because I had my interview for the internship that I have now in the very beginning of February. And then again, same thing from the tips and tricks that you taught me. Like I was able to implement those in the interview and they really liked that and they saw that and they said that they wanted me in March. So yeah, 2 to 3 months, that's when it really started to kick in. But
That's how it works, man. Great answer, great things going through it. And like obviously we can tell the change too. One of the big FormAWin fundamentals is I don't believe in preparing for interviews because we're not trying to prepare to be someone else than who we already are. And you definitely encompass that, right? Because now you're just a killer, you're a savage, and you're ready to go conquer anything. I love it.
yes.
What's your favorite part about FormAWin?
Just a community. I think one of the big points that you iterate is being around like-minded people. And that's what I really love about the FormAWin community is because these people around me want to succeed. And even though I may not know every single person in the FormAWin community in real life, it's nice to know that there are other people who have the same dreams and visions that I do. So just being a part of that bigger network that has the same vision as myself, it's good to have.
Yes, sir.
It's
And
good
then
to
it
have.
goes to the next question too. What are your goals for the future? What is that vision?
So ultimately, when I get out of college, I would hopefully have a job lined up. That's really the ultimate goal because I feel like through that job opportunity leads up to other things. So it leads to, you know, getting the money, of course, that's part of why some people become an engineer. But me, it's just more so problem solving. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a problem solver at heart. But that's going to open the door to many things. So ultimately, when I get a job, the long-term goal is to just build a family. That's really the end goal, to be honest, to build a family, maybe start a business, and also become a coach like kind of you are, and kind of just helping people of the next generation. Just coming from a spot like I am right now makes me want to help everybody that's younger than me and kind of just, guide them in the right direction because I know when I came into college, I didn't really have that support network. So that's really what I want to do. But
I
yeah,
love it, man.
ultimately, land a job, get a family, start a business, become a coach.
So then, I mean, I think that kind of answers the next question we have. Do you plan on staying part of the former win team?
I don't think so. No, I'm kidding. Of course, yes, for sure, without a doubt. Told you my heart is FormAWin with FormAWin forever. So,
That's right. I appreciate
yes,
it,
sir.
man. And I'm glad that you've made all of these progress.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
one last thing here, I think for everyone's going to be one final piece of advice to students, coming up who were in your position to where they want to be now, which is where you're at. So what's one final piece of advice for them?
Two pieces of advice.
Shoot.
Get a mentor and join a network, join a club, get involved. This is really what's one thing is going to lead to another by getting a coach, joining a bigger network. You're going to meet people, you're going to make friends, you're going to you're going to learn new things. And that's really ultimately my biggest takeaway here is just get involved, talk to people, make new friends. You're going to work on things that you never thought you might have worked on or learn things that you might have never thought, you would have known. So,
I love it. Yes, sir. All right. Well, listen. So, thank you everyone for watching. This really just captures and closes out the interview with Christian, one of our top students. He's going to be with us, growing, getting more internships, and doing a lot more in his life as well. So, everyone, I hope you took some notes. Hope you found some things that you can apply. Reach out to us if you need anything. Feel free to text me. Feel free to reach out. LinkedIn. social media. We have other coaches here as well that can help support you. Christian, thank you for everything you're doing. Can't wait for your future success. And we're out.
Sure.
Thank you everyone for watching.